guys, what's up and welcome back to another YouTube video here on the Co's channel. Now I'm going to explain why today's video is different than today's audio podcast over on Spotify, Google, and all of that good stuff. But before we get into it, I want to give you guys a quick little message from one of the sponsors that actually brought you guys today's episode, and that is ExpressVPN. If you guys didn't know this, ExpressVPN actually protects your data and just your privacy online. But the other really cool thing that most people don't know about ExpressVPN is that you can actually use it to watch different shows in different countries, like on Netflix and YouTube, BBC Player, Hulu, all of those things, based on changing your location by using ExpressVPN. So you can go in and choose from up to 100 different countries. And then what that does is it makes it look like that is where your IP address is coming from. So it actually just, if you refresh Netflix or you refresh any of your streaming devices, it's going to give you access to the different shows and movies and different things that you can watch and enjoy in those countries. Plus, the really cool thing about ExpressVPN is it's actually compatible with all of your devices. So whether you have a smart TV or an iPhone or anything like that, you can actually gain access to all of these streamable things on all of your devices. So if you guys want to get an extra free 3 months of ExpressVPN, then just go ahead and check out expressvpn.com/Kaylin. It's a really easy way to support the show, but also to protect your own privacy online and gain other things that you can stream and watch online. So again, that's expressvpn.com/Kaylin. Now, without further ado, I will slowly fade into today's Coffee Talk episode. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the Coffee Talk, or I guess you might say the Co's channel. Today I'm actually filming a bonus video for the Co's YouTube channel because I actually interviewed my dad for my podcast this week. Unfortunately, when I went to go edit all the footage, half of the video is completely out of focus. So that episode did go live on the Coffee Talk podcast. I'll leave links to it down below. You can listen to it on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all of that. So definitely go check that out. It was really fun to bring my dad onto the podcast, and I want to make it a new thing where maybe all of the coffee talks, like the coffee brews, would be interviews of other people. That's kind of like a work in progress. So yeah, if you guys want to listen to me interview my dad, definitely go check that out. And in the meantime, I still wanted to bring a video to my YouTube channel, or the Co's YouTube channel. So today I brewed myself up a good old decaf, and I figured we could sit and talk just about any kind of theme in particular. I didn't really make any notes for today. I just kind of want to sit and talk as if we were actually sitting and talking over coffee. Yeah, that's good. I'm also using my new podcast microphone, so you might notice this in upcoming videos and videos where I'm sitting and talking more often. I don't know, it's kind of a vibe. I feel like I should be talking this way, but because I'm filming, I also want to be looking at you. This is just like, just new things, you know? So something that I wanted to talk about today when I was thinking about just little things that we could discuss, little nuggets that have been kind of pulled from my own everyday life. One of the things that I actually recently was thinking about, I don't know, it's literally a note in my iPhone, which is where most of the things that come to mind throughout the week tend to go. And it was this idea of what to do when you don't know what to do. And I was pretty much giving myself kind of that same advice. It was one of those days where I just kind of felt like stagnant. I felt like I was stuck. And this tends to happen a lot, I find, when I'm procrastinating. If there's anything that I feel like I don't have the courage to do, even if I don't want to admit it or admit that that's the problem, whenever there's just a point in time that I feel a lot of resistance. I feel a lot of, okay, I want to be doing something, but I'm not too sure exactly what I should be doing, or I have energy and I don't know where to put it. And, you know, you're kind of running through ideas in your head, but you're like, oh, I don't feel like doing that. No, I don't feel like doing that. And it's kind of like, how do you break that procrastination cycle? And I think that there's so many different ways to do this. And it's important to explore all of those ideas, because the amazing but also completely complicated thing about our brains is that we just will constantly look for the comfiest way to get through life. You know, our brains don't want us to feel any sort of discomfort or resistance, and that is why we tend to create these maybe not so great habits such as procrastination. So it's important to constantly keep things fresh and to constantly challenge your brain in that way, because then it stops your brain from finding, I guess, kind of the loophole in the new ways that you're introducing healthier choices into your life. So for procrastination in particular, for me, it kind of gets to this point where I know that there's things that I should be doing, or maybe I just feel like I want to be doing something, but I'm not sure what. I do feel like I want to slip in here really quickly and talk about the whole procrastination versus productive mindset, because I also think that procrastination, if it's becoming a really big problem or habit in your life, it might be actually kind of like a flag, something that your mind, your body might be trying to get your attention with. And I think that that can sometimes come from the productive mindset that is very dominant in today's society and in today's culture, especially work culture, and not even just work culture, but like more so digital online, in the whole digital online sphere and the whole world. Like it's just very much a do mindset. It's very much a constantly kind of be on that achievement treadmill, if you will. And it's great. It's a double-edged sword in my opinion, because I think it's great to feel ambitious and it's great to have dreams and it's great to like soak up your life feeling dedicated to something or to dedicate any time or energy into something. And that can feel really amazing. But I do think that it can sometimes also put us completely out of balance when we're not careful with it. And procrastination is a very common, I guess you might say, symptom of burnout or of overdrive or of trying to be overproductive, when maybe we might actually just need a little bit more time in our life to be rather than to do. So just a side note to think about, because I also think that constantly trying to fast circuit our way out of procrastination and get our brains back on board with doing, it is great, but it can also, if you're not careful of if your brain is trying to maybe signal to you that things are out of balance, that it might need a break, that it might need some time to rest and relax and restore and recharge in a lot of ways, then it might actually be better at focusing in on the work that you're trying to do. Again, though, that's so subject to everybody, and everybody's going to be different on that front. But that kind of plays into the answer that I want to give for what to do when you don't know what to do, because there is an aspect of my answer to that question that could feed into the more being mindset than the doer mindset. But here's the three breakdown, like the three things to consider when you're not sure what to do. And I've broken it down to the first one being self-care or any kind of like solo time. The second one is any kind of social time or to be with other people, to be out and doing things. And the third one is studies, but I use studies only because I wanted to just keep everything very cohesive in using the S's. But really studies could be work, could be actual study, or it could be any kind of like self-study that you're doing, any kind of work. When you're in that doer mindset, that is studies. So this is why I think that this is the perfect kind of antidote whenever you're feeling like you're not sure what to do, is if to come to these three things and ask yourself, what category should you be in right now? Because as much as, okay, for instance, I love routines, but I can really be flexible with my routines. I don't always have to be working. I don't always have to be on per se. And it's really down to me and my decision when I decide to work, when I decide to be off, when I decide to do all sorts of things, which is why I think I have a lot of anxiety in my life and get into that doer mindset too much, because I put a lot of pressure on myself to get things done a lot. But no matter what routine you follow, no matter what priorities you have in your life right now, it really can all be broken down into these three categories. Realistically, you know what your routine is. So given the hour or the time that you're asking yourself, like, what should I be doing right now? What is this time appropriate for? Is it appropriate for solo time / self-care? Is it appropriate to be social and with other people? Or is it time to be cracked down and studying or working on something? Now, I'm well aware that this isn't the case for absolutely everybody, but I think that with most of us still being at home and still kind of being in this pocket of, we've been in like self-isolation for so long, and it's crazy to think about, but I think that it's also given a lot of people the opportunity to really choose how to spend their time. And this is where that whole, have you guys ever heard of, and I don't know exactly where the root of this came from, but I once heard about just decisions in general and how to minimize the amount of decisions you have to make in a day, and how Barack Obama, for instance, like he used to wear the exact same shirt, the exact same tie, the exact same like specific things in his routine to diminish the amount of exhaustion he was putting into making decisions, like simple decisions every day. And I think that that is why a lot of the times when there's a lot of decisions, like when there's a great deal of things you could be doing, or a lot of things you could be working on, a lot of people you could be talking to, a lot of maybe tasks that you have in that self-care or solo time criteria or category, we can kind of get stunted with that overwhelm of like, well, wait, there's so many things I could be doing and I have this chunk of free time. So what do I do with it? Like, do I do one? Do I do the other? And that's why I feel like it's really easy, or it's really helpful to break it down into a very minimalistic, like 3-choice, what category should you be fitting in right now? And even still, if you're not even sure what category, then ask yourself what category seems to be the most out of balance. Like, are you most out of balance with time with yourself? Are you most out of balance in whatever you should be working on? Are you most out of balance or out of touch with the people in your life? Because if you do have free time, then that might be a really good place to dedicate that free time, because hey, it's out of balance. So now that I have this spare time, let's put some effort, some energy, and some time into this. Quick sip. So I wanted to take a quick break from today's episode to talk to you guys about ExpressVPN. So we all know that ExpressVPN protects our privacy and security online, right? But there's something that you actually might not know, that you can also use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are available in other countries. So now that a lot of us are at home, it's a matter of time until we start running out of things to watch on Netflix, right? Like, I don't think I've ever watched so many series in my life. So for instance, this week I've been using ExpressVPN to watch things like Doctor Who on the UK Netflix, even though I'm based in Canada. It's super simple to do. You just have to fire up the ExpressVPN app, change your location to the UK, then refresh Netflix, and that's literally it. You can do it in any country as well. So ExpressVPN hides your IP address and it lets you control where you want your site to think that you're located. So you can choose from almost 100 different countries. So think about all the different Netflix libraries that you can go through. Like, for instance, if you love anime, then you can use ExpressVPN to access Japanese Netflix and be spirited away. But it's also not just Netflix. ExpressVPN actually works with streaming services like Hulu, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, you name it. And there are hundreds of VPNs out there, but the reason why I use ExpressVPN is because it allows me to watch new shows ridiculously fast. There's never any buffering or lag, and you can stream in HD with no problems. The other really cool thing is ExpressVPN is also compatible with all of your devices, so phones, media consoles, smart TVs, all of that. So you can watch what you want on a personalized device or on your big screen wherever you are. If you visit my special link right now, that's expressvpn.com/Kaylin, then you can actually get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. So if you want to support the show and watch what you want and protect yourself, then go to expressvpn.com/Kaylin. So if you're looking to reduce any kind of unnecessary trips out, if you're looking to avoid grocery stores, or if you're just looking for new and fun ways to include some new fresh foods into your life, then you should definitely check out Sunbasket. It's perfect, it's delicious, and it's such a good solution for the current times that we're living in. If you're curious what Sunbasket is, Sunbasket actually delivers healthy, delicious meals straight to your front door. The really awesome thing about Sunbasket is that they have delicious recipes for all kinds of dietary preferences, including things like gluten-free, vegetarian or vegan, Mediterranean, paleo, anything like that. They also make it super easy and convenient, with everything being pre-portioned and ready to prep and cook. So you can enjoy a full dinner of organic produce and clean ingredients in as little as 15 minutes, no matter how much experience you feel like you have in the kitchen. Each week, Sunbasket also offers a wide range of super yummy recipes to choose from. So you can try things like white bean tostitas with blackberry salsa and pumpkin seeds. Like, how good does that sound? Another option is also mushroom stroganoff with spinach and peas. There's just so many good recipes and so many good foods and meals that you'll be able to try that you're not normally prone or able to try if you're just cooking at home. You can order from any of their recipes across the menu. Plus, you can also skip weeks whenever you know that you're going to be out or you don't need any extra dishes, or you can double up if you know that you have anybody visiting or anything like that. And Sunbasket facilities have the highest levels of food and employee safety. They are reinforcing strict adherence to their existing standard operating procedures and increasing sanitization frequency in their distribution centers in order to protect you and your family. So right now, Sunbasket is offering $35 off your order if you go right now to sunbasket.com/talk and then enter that promo code TALK at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/talk and then enter the code TALK at checkout for $35 off your order. Sunbasket.com/talk and then use that same promo code TALK. Even in my own day-to-day, whenever I do have free time, it's like I feel very stunted often by the idea of, well, what should I do? And then it's so easy when your brain is like kind of getting exhausted thinking about all of the possible scenarios. It makes a lot of sense that our brains just want to link into something quick. So a lot of the times we'll put on TV or we'll do something that we don't actually want to be doing, like spending just aimless time scrolling on our phones, which isn't necessarily always a bad thing. It's just that I think that there's no intention in whatever it is that we're doing. We're kind of just wasting time. So we're living unintentionally, right? And even if your intention is like, I just want to relax and scroll on my phone, then at least you've given that task an intention, and it kind of takes away or dissipates that feeling of underlying anxiety of I should be doing something else, or I am procrastinating, or I'm not focused, or whatever that feeling is. You guys probably know exactly what feeling I'm talking about because it's always there whenever you feel like you're doing things you shouldn't be doing, or that you're not doing the things that you know you could be doing. You know, that like weird feeling of anxiety that just kind of bubbles under the surface. So just to give you guys a breakdown of how I like to use this, whenever I find myself in those moments of, okay, I have some free time, what do I do? Or, okay, I don't really know what I want to be doing right now. I don't really know what I should be doing right now. What do I do? I come to those three categories. And like I said, if I have actual free time that I can do whatever I wish, I choose the one that is most out of balance. So I'll go through scenarios with each one just to give you guys some examples of how you can break it down further to then figure out exactly what you should be doing when you're not sure what to be doing. So let's say the first one, self-care or solo time, is out of balance. So if you have free time, you're not sure what you should be doing, you choose self-care or solo time, then that can branch off in a bunch of different ways. You might have, a book that you want to read, or really, I think that this kind of just comes down to self-care and just being aware of where you're at, like your relationship with yourself, anything that's going to benefit or build on that relationship with yourself. It might mean it's time to take a nap if you're noticing that you're tired or that your body is a little bit more run down. It might be to go for a walk, to listen to some music you like, to read, to do anything like any kind of like a bubble bath. You could go grocery shopping if you feel like you've kind of fallen behind on that. I definitely think that even like gisting or cleaning or any kind of chore or task that is in relation to like benefiting your life in some way or making you feel good in your own atmosphere or in your own skin, anything that fits into those criterias would go perfectly into that solo self-care thing that you could be doing. Now, let's say it was social. So you're like, okay, I have free time. I don't want to do solo or self-care, but I do feel like I want to connect with people. Then, I know that things are still pretty like difficult in terms of being able to make plans and see the people that we want to be seeing. And I feel like it's also very based on where you're living in the world right now. Like you can only meet with a few people right now. So I know that this one might not be as easy, but it's still like if it's social, you can put FaceTimes on the calendar. Like Larissa and I literally do this. We're like, okay, what day are we talking? Like what day are we virtually going to hang out? And then we plan what we're going to do like in our hangouts, in our FaceTimes and all of that. So then it's just like, okay, like I know that I have this to do. But yeah, social can also just even be going out and going for a walk. Like there have been times in the last few months of being in isolation where I've felt that sense of, like I've been talking to people or FaceTiming people or calling people, but I just really miss that face-to-face interaction. And I will literally go for walks just to smile and say hi to people. I know that sounds really lame. And the first few times it's really uncomfortable. I started doing it while I run too. But like once you do it the first few times and you break the ice of the awkwardness and discomfort of not being used to like talking to strangers, it's actually really fun to sort of analyze how people react to saying hi because people aren't used to it anymore. At least in Toronto, it doesn't seem that way. So whenever I'm just walking, I'll just be like, hello. And like most people kind of need a second and then they're like, oh hi. But it's nice because I think that it makes, first of all, it makes you feel good because you're like, oh, like I'm being social, like I'm interacting with other people, even if it's very brief. But I also think that that puts like such a little, just like happy dose of energy in someone else's day. Have you ever noticed when someone does that to you, when you're least expecting it? Someone says hello, someone holds the door, someone even just smiles at you, like someone you literally don't even know, and you're just like, ooh, that felt nice. And then you're kind of inspired to do it to other people. I feel like it creates that rippling effect. So even if socially there's no one you can actually go see right now or hang out with, like literally go for a walk, smile and say hi at people. It feels really nice. And then the third one being your studies. So this is the one that I think gets stickiest because whenever I'm procrastinating work or like things that I know I should be working on, that is when the bubbling anxiety really comes up to the surface, you know, because you know you're pushing off something you should be working on. And this has been something that in my own life, I've been really trying to be like graceful and create space around with myself, because I think that, again, trying to shift out of that hyper productivity mindset has been really uncomfortable. And so the times that I do catch myself resisting any type of work I know I should be doing, I've been trying to just be like, okay, like root the problem, like weed out the anxiety and kind of figure out what's stopping me from doing the thing that I want to be doing. And there's a couple little nuggets of wisdom that I find really help me here. The first one is I recently read a quote, something along the lines of, when you're working on something that you don't believe in or you're not passionate in, it comes out as stress. But when you're working on something that you love and feel like you're putting your heart and soul into, that is called passion. And so a lot of the times I'll notice when I'm procrastinating any kind of work I need to do, I'm like, okay, is there a way that I can get passionate about this? Can I flip this from stress into passion? And especially because too, it doesn't mean that if you're stressing out about something that you don't love it or you're not putting your heart and soul into it. I think it's just that we maybe forgotten our intention with those tasks in the first place. Like if you chose to study a certain field in school and you're catching yourself resisting actually studying, or projects that you have to do or things like that, it might be helpful to remind yourself why you're doing this course in the first place, like why you got this job in the first place. Even if, let's say, you have a job that you don't necessarily love, like you're like, okay, this is just like an in-between stepping stone for me to get to the place that I want to go to. Even reminding yourself of that, reminding yourself of where it is, like what are you working towards, that helps reignite that sense of passion in the things we're doing, which makes it a lot easier to kind of break that rigid feeling or that constraint of procrastination and start doing the things. The other thing that I find to be super helpful whenever I find myself resisting or not doing the things I should be doing when it comes to work or studies of any kind is to break things down into smaller tasks. Now, this has really been helpful for me when it comes to any kind of writing that I do, and I think that this will be a really helpful piece of advice for anyone out there that is trying to turn their passions into like any kind of project really that you're actually fulfilling and working through. And books in particular tend to be that for me. Like I love to write. It's such a passion of mine. It's such a just like a natural way for me to express myself. But the minute that I turn that writing into a project, the minute that I turn that hobby into a goal or a book or something that I'm actually working on, again, it can be really easy to then look at the daunting feeling of an entire project rather than remembering the process, the beauty in the daily process, the efforts that you put into completing that project. A really good way to look at it is break it down into, if this was like a thermometer and at the very top of the thermometer, that's you completing this project, like break it down degree by degree, like literally work at it 1 degree a day if you need to, but just kind of dip back into that process of passion rather than the process of a project. And that'll help you push through maybe the step back or any kind of thickness that you're feeling that's stopping you from really getting into action with whatever it is you feel like you should be working on. So there you guys have it. That is a super simple just mindset that you might want to take with you, put in your toolkit, keep in your back pocket whenever you catch yourself procrastinating procrastinating, or just not knowing what to do when you have free time to be doing something. I hope you guys took something out of this. If anything, just breaking it down as simple as whenever you catch yourself feeling like, okay, what should I do right now? Just ask yourself self-care, social, or studies, and then go from there and kind of tree out or web out exactly what you plan on doing. That is really weird. I don't know why, but while I was just talking to you guys, I just had the weirdest deja vu of my dream last night. I was in a carnival. Anyway, also, like I mentioned at the beginning of today's episode, I'll leave the audio podcast episode where I interviewed my dad. I'll leave the link to it down below so you guys can check it out. And I will see all of you guys in the next Co's video. Bye, guys.